Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Peyton in Colorado. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling, thankful Thursday. This is a lot later, like about 5 hours late, so I apologize for that. It's been a very busy day. Can you tell by the suitcases under my eyes here? So how was your thankful Thursday? I've had an amazing day. I am very thankful for the day that I had. I'm thankful for the people I connected with today. I am thankful for the work that got done. I am thankful for family. I just had a very thankful for friends. I just had a very, very blessed day today. So I am very grateful for that. So how was your, thankful Thursday? Did you do a gratitude journal for your mindset? Did you write anything down in there to what you were grateful for, even if it was only just 3 things? It could be anything. You know, thankful I've got food in my cabinets. Thankful that I have a roof over my head. Thankful that I have clothes to wear. You know, it could be just anything. Did you show gratitude to those that you work with, be they employees, teammates, business partners, clients, vendors, suppliers, all of them? Were you thankful for them today? And then what about your fun? Being grateful in all situations, even the tough times that you're going through. Those, I think, bring some of the biggest blessings ever. When you're going through a hard time, speaking from experience, when you're going through a hard time, to turn around and be grateful for that experience that you are in and the things that you are experiencing at that time. It is a hard thing to do. Yes, I agree. But it is so worth doing. So today I actually started the day rather differently. Usually when I sit and eat breakfast, I play cards on the computer. I don't know why, but I do. It's just a game I got on there. It doesn't require internet. It's just different card games. And I usually play euchre, then cribbage, then Australian solitaire. Usually those 3, and then I'm done for the day. But today I did something different. I actually sat and I watched the Who Do You Think You Are episode of Kim Cattrall. Now, I didn't think I thought I'd seen them all before, but this is one I hadn't seen. So it was kind of interesting. She was trying to find out what had happened to her grandfather. And they had him in this picture. They had this wedding picture, family wedding picture there that was taken, was it the 1930s, I think it was? And he wasn't in the family photograph with all the family. He was peeking out from behind the blinds in this window behind them, which is kind of weird. And so she wanted to know what happened with him, because he left her mom and her 2 aunts when they were small children. And he left and they never heard from him again. It was interesting following her journey and how she was actually able to talk to people who knew of the family at the time, and knew of him, and found out that he got married. He left them, ended up getting married like less than a year later to somebody else while he was still married to the first wife. And it was this whole thing. He had this whole family with them, and then they ended up moving down to Australia, and it was a very interesting journey and very emotional for her, because she wanted to find out what had happened. And she actually spoke to her mum and her 2 aunts about as much as information that they knew about at the beginning. Then she went back and reported it to them all, was actually able to show them photographs, because the age of the younger 2 sisters, the younger 2 aunts at the time when he left, they had no recollection of what he looked like. And even the mother, they had no photographs of him. He was always taking himself out of photographs. But she actually managed to find 2 photographs of him when she got to meet the second wife's family. So it was a very interesting journey, and some of the stuff that she went through, very, very interesting and stuff. So I like those programs, because sometimes when I'm watching those and they're talking with archivists and genealogists and things, sometimes they'll turn around and say, oh, we went and we looked here, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good idea. So sometimes I learn when I watch these shows, not only hearing people's stories and everything else, but I may learn a way around a stumbling block that I'm having with somebody. Go, oh, I didn't think to look at that. So I'll make a note of that. Or when they talk about different resources that are available and stuff like that, it's like, oh, didn't know that was available. Write that down. So yeah, so I always learn something watching those programs and things, and it was a very interesting journey. I mean, I was crying along with them. I really, I got so involved in the story. I was like, oh my gosh. So they found them. They found them. No, they didn't. Oh darn. So I kind of got involved with the story. But today's genealogy question comes from Tom. Tom wants to know why you should join a genealogy society if you're researching your family tree. That's a great question. There are so many advantages to joining genealogy societies. You don't even have to be in the same country to join a genealogy society. At one point, I was a member of the... Oh, it was around Huntingdonshire. There was the Huntington Family Research Society or something like that. That was in England. And the Huntington area is where a lot of my father's family came from. And so for a while I was part of that society, and I was able to ask questions about the area, about different places I could try to get records and that sort of thing. And they were able to help me, even though I was in the US and they were in England. They were able to help me. Here in the States, there's just about every state has a genealogy society. Some will actually have them broken down to counties, and then you've got the National Genealogy Society. I'm trying to think. It's sitting right here in front of me, and I couldn't even read it. And every now and again, I join back up with the New Zealand Genealogy Society because they actually have a library of records. So they can go, and they can also go do searches for you as well. So it's always good to have somebody with boots on the ground in an area where you're researching if you can't get there frequently, or you need somebody who's there to see if they can go research some files for you. If you tell them, I need somebody to go put some eyeballs on these files. A lot of times you'll find somebody able to help you. Most of them, in fact, I think about all of them, will put out some sort of magazine or some sort of publication, like monthly, quarterly. Some just do emails, like a monthly email and things like that. Like here in the States, I'm a life member of the clan of the Ross clan because I descend from the Ross clan, and they had a really good deal on at the time for lifetime membership. And every month we get a newsletter from them, and they actually have a genealogist at the Ross Clan Society or Association. Is it association or society? It's one or the other. So you can even talk to them, and you pass your family tree along to them, which I haven't done yet, because there was a couple of things I needed to verify before I got hair falling in my ear. Sometimes they, there's some information that I need to verify before I send in my family tree. I was able to tell them that yes, I did descend from the Ross clan. I'm a descendant from the Ross clan, and this is kind of how I do it. But I want to send them that portion of the tree so they can fit it in with their tree for the Clan Ross. I love going to the Scottish Games because I get to learn more about my Scottish heritage, as well as if you go into a lot of the different clans will actually have tents set up, and when you go into those tents, you can learn about your clan, who are famous descendants from your clan, or involved in your clan. Like we've got a couple of astronauts, there's a couple of NASA astronauts, and was it one? I think it's two. I think it's a couple of astronauts. NASA astronauts are from the Ross clan. There was, what was it? Oh, and they also had on display, completely sealed, they had some bottles of scotch that supposedly belonged to the Ross clan. But one of the other clans said, yeah, I don't think so. But there's all sorts of really cool stuff at Scottish Games and things like that. And so being part of that society, I'm able to go along and have a look and nosy around, learn some more stuff about the Ross clan. But the National Genealogy Society of the US here has two publications. They have, which I get, they have this one, which is their quarterly. This is filled with, they're almost like research papers. But they will talk like this one here with the gentleman on the front there. That was Old Uncle Davy, otherwise known as David Truman, and they don't know the exact year he was born, but around 1810 to 1903, they think. but it talks about his life story in there, and they have a couple of other ones in there too, but these are more almost like reports, and they've got like all the footnotes are in there, and, there's numbers all through the article with the footnotes and everything else. Then you have, so that one comes out quarterly. Also that comes out quarterly too is this one, which is the NGS magazine, and they have really cool articles in here. Like this one is People of the West. It's talking about Paper Sons and Picture Brides Asian Immigration Case Files. And then they also have an article on, and this is more of a how-to. This one's more of, this is research. This is more of a research essay type thing. And this is more how-to. If you're researching, this may what you may want to look at. So this one here talks about a lot of the Asians immigrations from China and Japan and other Asian countries too, about how they came in here, how they were banned at one point from coming in, and all of that sort of, it's all in there, so it can help you actually find some records. Then they've also got in this particular, and this is the January through March of this year. They also have, researching members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so it talks about all the record keeping and everything else. They even have Jewish agricultural colonies west of the Mississippi. That's an interesting article to read. And then they have the records of railroad workers. So if you had somebody who, I just suddenly thought, my mother-in-law's father worked for the railroad. Records of railroad workers. I'm going to have to go read that one. But they have interesting articles there on different topics and about how you can go and research them. It gives you history, like in there you'll have history on each of those 4 things that we talked about: the Asian immigration, the Mormons, the Jewish agricultural colonies, and the railroad workers. Different places that you can go to get their records and look them up, and what sort of records you can expect to find, what information will be on the records, that sort of stuff. So the magazine is kind of has the how-to in there, or the tips and tricks, and the quarterly is the research papers, basically, along with all of their footnotes and resource and what sources they found in it, which is a good way to also learn, because then you can go and say, where did they get that from? And you go and look, that's that number. I didn't know about that resource, and so you can then go and use that to have a look. But like I said, in fact, I think, all the ones that I've ever belonged to have had either a monthly, bi-monthly, or a quarterly publication of some sort that they've put out that will have articles on different immigrants coming in. So they may have an article on the Asians, they may have an article on the British coming in, the Scottish, they may have articles on Americans coming into other countries because, Americans going to the UK or whatever, or the Brits coming into America, the times they used to do it, what times were like, and that gives you a bit of background and history as well on those areas, and how they collected the information, what information they collected, and everything else. So lots of great information. Plus, too, with societies, if you belong to any particular society, they usually have an area, like I know for New Zealand one, when I belong to there, I've got to list all the surnames that I'm researching, and that helps other genealogists who can turn around and say, I'm researching that name as well. What branch of that one are you researching? And then we can compare notes, and they could be filling gaps in on my tree, I could be filling gaps in on their tree. Of course, checking all their research and everything else. So there's collaborations that can happen between society members as well. And they're great if you don't live in the area to go research records, physical records for you that aren't available online. So there's a lot of great, joining genealogy societies is amazing, especially if you're in that, you're doing research in that area. For a while, I was a member at the Wells County. Was it Wells County or was it Indiana? Because my mother-in-law's family came from Wells County in Indiana. And so for a while I belonged to one of the societies that they had there that covered that area. And so if I had questions on the area, questions on the history that was happening at the time, they were able to help me with those questions. If I had questions on a family that was in that area, I was able to, I actually found the plan of the plot of land that they used to own there as well, so somebody was able to go and research that for me too. So there's amazing ways that you can, there's a lot of ways that you can use the society as well as be a contributing member to the society. So it's all really, really cool stuff. So yes, joining a genealogy society, especially in an area where you're researching, is very, very helpful, because you can learn a lot from people who have been born. Most of the people that I've met through genealogy societies were born and raised in the areas where they are members of the society. So they can give you first-hand knowledge a lot of the times on what things were happening, because they could be second, third, fourth generation. If you want a really cool thing to see, yeah, it does kind of have something to do with genealogy, because it gives you the history of the area. So I was researching Ketchikan one time, and their visitors center, it's the Ketchikan tourist information or visitors information, I can't remember which, but they have these little short 20 to, I think the longest one I watched might have been like 40-minute videos about life in Ketchikan over the years. When they had immigrants coming in, they used to bring over a lot of people from Asia who would come and work in the canneries during the cannery season. And then some would head back, and some families decided to stay in Ketchikan. And they actually interview local people, Ketchikanians. They would actually interview Ketchikanians, and on the screen it would have, third generation Ketchikanian or fifth generation Ketchikanian. So you know that family had been established there for a very long time. And they would talk a lot about the history of the area. Things that they had witnessed, stuff, stories that have been passed down through the generations. There was even a write-up about some woman in Alaska one time getting slapped in the face with a fish, and they go, "Yep, that happened here, and this is the story behind the story. This is what was reported in the news. This is what actually happened." And was it? Oh yeah, we're very friendly. Was it something about being very friendly people here? And sometimes we communicate. We're very good communicators, and sometimes our communications with our fists are better than our communication with our words, or something. It was something like that, which just cracked me up laughing. But my favorite portion is, and at the end of some of these, they will put outtakes in there. My most favorite outtake is there was a woman there. She was 105. She was like a first generation Ketchikanian. She was 105 years old. She was smart as a whip, this girl, because they'd actually interviewed her throughout the series. They'd interviewed her for different things, and each video concentrates on a certain area of Ketchikan, like it could be the history of it, the founding of it, the people. But this woman here, she was 105, smart as a whip, still had all of her wits about her, great storyteller. But my most favorite outtake of her is she turns around. Remember, she's 105. She turns around and she goes, there are buildings here that are younger than me, and they call them historic. I cracked up laughing when she said that. I thought, that's true. And I thought, well, I wonder what they would refer to her as. If their buildings are younger and they're calling them historic and she's 105, what are they calling her? Ancient? A relic? Who knows? But anyway, there's lots of really cool stuff that you can learn from joining a genealogy society. So yes, and some genealogy societies like the National Genealogy Society actually have courses that you can take online to help you with your research. It could be, and there's some beginner courses that go through the beginning steps of how to start your family tree, through some of the terminology, some of the information you can get off the vital records. And your vital records, remember, are birth, deaths, marriage certificates. Sometimes obituaries can be included in there too, but the birth, death, and marriage, because they're official government documents, are your vital records. And you can also throw in there baptismal records / christening records, whatever information. It's just the information. And they even have things on there like how to track your information. Like if you said to somebody, "Oh, I got this information off the birth certificate," they go, "Oh, what was the birth certificate?" And you can give them the registration number and everything else. So they can go and look that up, and boom, there it is. They also had how to do your research. So talking about doing research logs, as well as how to report your sources, because it's always important that whenever you get any records, that you note where it came from, the source. Was it on a microfilm or a microfiche? Was it from a book? What was the book? What was the volume number? What was the page number? If it was from a newspaper, what newspaper was it? What was the date on the newspaper? What was the volume and the issue number of that newspaper? Same with magazines. So like this one here, it would be the NGS magazine, volume 46, number 1, January through March of 2020, and then page whatever the information was on that they found. So it's very good to So a lot of societies, some of them will have online classes that you can take, and some of them are included free for members. And if you're not a member, and if you are a member, there's also some classes that you have to pay for, but they're at a reduced cost because they have a member's price and a non-member's price. So is it worth joining genealogy societies? Absolutely. You can learn a lot of information from them, you can gain a lot of information from them, and you may even be able to contribute information to them based on who you are researching, and you may even find somebody else is researching the same family, maybe not the same branch that you're researching in that family, but they may be doing a side branch to the family that you're researching, so you may be able to compare notes and fill in gaps in each other's trees. So Tom, thank you very much for your question about why join a genealogy society. I hope that covered it. It was a very long-winded one. I rambled because I'm tired and I'm talking too much, so I am out of here. It's time for bed. Have a super fantastic sparkling rest of your Thankful Thursday. For some of you, you're already into Friday. That's Fun Friday. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you tomorrow. He konera.